because I'm about to piss my pants.
3, 2, 1, go!
Sorry, bro. No matter how hard I plan, bro, something goes wrong. Oh, fuck. Imagine the cops.
It's gonna be a nightmare.
This toy camera arrived in the post. I saw it online, and with the specs it was offering for the price, I knew it had to be some kind of joke. It cost less than a quarter of a Canon 1D battery, or the equivalent of a kooky alien Halloween costume. But nevertheless, the specs said that it would be 1080p, 16:9. It has face detection. Ooh, good morning, boy. Check my new camera.
Fancy.
16 megapixel camera.
There's nowhere even for your eye. It's so delayed.
Don't dust my new camera. And only weighs 170 grams, which is 0.37 pounds. So I thought it would be a great time to test the discussion of gear versus idea by reshooting on what we can only call a kid's toy. I think it's awesome.
It's just off now.
Maybe it can only roll for like a certain amount of time.
To be 100% clear, we do not operate like this.
This is Dan's crazy idea.
A super expensive, high production quality ad filmed with a camera that, with all the items needed to make it work properly, comes to just over $1 million. Here's the top and bottom view sequence of the behind the scenes and the end result of part of the high production quality ad. There's a scene now. Get ready for snow. Snow. Keep it going, keep it going, keep it going, keep it going. And if you want to see the results of that, go watch the video I just uploaded called $100 camera versus a $1 million camera. That's kind of like the episode 1 to this video. And then if you do have the hunger and curiosity to learn more about how to make a video, I have a class which is available on Skillshare, which is an online learning community with thousands of inspiring classes for creative and curious people. Explore new skills, deepen existing passions, and get lost in creativity through watching my class called Filmmaking for All, Tell Your Story Through Video. I've watched all the films that have come out of the students, and it's really inspiring and epic to see, and I would love to see yours. And then talking about making videos with nothing but a concept and great people around you. Gabby saw the result of the expensive ad, and like you and Joey, has no idea how I recreated it with this kid's toy. So let's dive right into those questions asked by a far better YouTuber than me, Gabby the Great. Give it up, everyone. Woo!
I said just leave the camera.
It's on autofocus, you can just come.
Question?
Question.
How did you do the thing with this cheaper camera where you drive the car up the ramp and then it goes into the forest?
So that's what we call a seamless transition. That shot I flipped because the turntable could only spin in one direction. We went up, followed the car down. Usually what you do is move to black, but that's kind of like cheating.
Okay.
Because if you go from black to black, it's a noticeable wipe.
Okay.
You know, people go, oh, that's a wiping point. So what we wanted to do was have enough light projected on that and then come out of that exact image into the turntable.
Is it possible with this camera?
Very possible. Possible
Okay,
with any camera.
Possible with any camera, okay.
Things like we use cars wiping past, and then we come out of the trees into the office. I was really stoked with is that this toy still achieved the seamlessness of the wipes to an extent.
Just like record, go stop recording and then pick up where you left off?
Yeah, because if you think about it, it's called mise en scène. It's a space that one creates that only you in the camera as the viewer see. So we could essentially be anywhere in the world, and we can merge time and space and come to a new location, but they can look the same. That's where you go way back before they had.
They're never using these.
No. Nobody ever used this. They would never. This is a new thing. I'm speaking old, back in the day when they shot on film, and you actually had cutting points with scissors. What you would do is you would make sure that everything that you do, you try to alleviate the most amount of post-production editing that you have to do.
What could this camera just not do that the expensive camera could?
So the quick answer to that question would be everything. And the expensive camera is called the DXL Millennium Monstro.
Okay. Do you have to change anything in your script to make it work with this camera?
No, so the point was to take exactly every shot and mimic it with this camera. But the thing is when you shoot with really great quality cameras, they come with a higher bit rate. I won't even get into that. Latitude. You can manipulate the imagery a lot more in post-production. So with this camera, what you record is what you have. And it's in a 4x3. Do you know what 4x3 is? 4x3 is like an old home video.
Yes,
I remember. Crop bars on the side. Okay.
I remember I was very upset when we got the long one.
What you shoot is what you get, and that's a brilliant restriction. So you rehearse, and there's this beautiful synergy that starts to happen with everybody on set because they understand.
16 megapixel.
Yes, that's what they said. And it's also called camera. And we can sandpaper off all of this information. A camera has what you call a sensor, which essentially takes the image from the lens and then puts it onto the card. And the card is then what you put into your computer and you start manipulating. This piece of shit has a sensor that I've never even heard of before. You can't do anything with it. You have to take that and put it in and not touch it. But the shutter angle is so slow. If I go like this and I go to there, it'll still show me what's over there. It's so delayed.
So was there anything this cheaper camera could do that the more expensive camera couldn't do?
Time-wise, yes, hugely. It saved what would take 2 days shooting on a set with the Monstro. You could do in 5 minutes with this camera. If everything's set up, all the lighting, there's no need for a data technician or a data wrangler.
Okay.
So that's why what I believe it to be a much more organic video. The limitations are where the creativity comes through. Where you find this beautiful synergy and synchronicity between your teammates and people on set with you.
So then what was the editing process like from the toy camera?
Just lightning fast. It was all, I think there was only 4 shots for the whole thing, and that's all that I had. Can't manipulate the image, so you can't slow things down. No, you can't touch anything. So in the non-ad that you saw shot on the Monstro, you would notice that there's no lines or metal pieces pulling the car. You can't do that.
You can't remove that.
I thought it was cool to then keep in the metal pieces because it shows intent and action.
It did. It had a very nostalgic feel to the ad shot on this.
I usually find that there's a lot more creative nuance when you're really limited with the amount of gear that you have. Like remember our COVID wedding? You know? We didn't have guests, so I just made them out of cardboard. There's something beautiful in restriction.
So you never finished film school. Where did you learn? How to do all the stuff that you do?
Okay, this is gonna sound like a legitimate segue. Okay, no, but I promise you. Okay, I tried the film school thing. I've tried online tutorials, I've read books. I mean, when you have an interest in something, you go out and teach yourself. And this segues perfectly into my brand read, which is Skillshare. Legitimately, I use Skillshare. It's the only reliable source of edutainment, I like to call it. It's fun to watch and it doesn't feel like education, like film school, which I obviously tanked at because it's very boxy. And Skillshare is the only platform that I've found that really, it helps guide you, and it's from creators. It's made by other creators that understand and know things better than you or than I do. Recently, I watched animation for illustration, adding movement with Procreate and Photoshop to help me better my skills with motion scrapbooking, which is very artisanal And you would like this, there are no ads. It's curated specifically for learning, because there's nothing more irritating than going on trying to learn something and then being bombarded by an ad that like just sways you. And then next minute you find yourself buying a crate of Red Bull. You know, or like some sites you didn't even know about. It's good for focus. They're always adding new premium classes for you to take your creativity to wherever you want to take it to. And it's less than $10 per month with an annual subscription. And you know what's even better? The first 1,000 subscribers that click on the link below get a free trial of Skillshare Premium membership. Other than that, don't forget, you're awesome, bro, and I'll see you next week where I'm making a video about going to Mars. Like, that's not why are you laughing? You know it's real.
I know.
It's real. That's coming next week. Subscribe, notifications bell, you know, the whole thing. Be like, wow, I learned a lot at least or something. Well, I hope you learned. I'm sure Gabs learned.
Yeah, I can work a camera now.
See you next week.